All right, Landon's question is up next.
Said Landon?
Landon.
Okay.
He says, I am a 17-year-old with about $14,700 saved up.
About
How much?
About $14,700, just about.
That's just about.
Specifically. That is a great, 17 years old.
17,
Okay.
that's wild.
So he says, would it be okay if I quit my job to have fun for my senior year of high school?
Would it be okay if I quit my job to have fun because I am at a place where I've done good so far and I can take a break? Well, okay, let's start at the beginning, Landon. 17 years old with $14,700.
It's a wealth multiplier. By the way, if you go to moneyguy.com/resources, you too can pull up your wealth multiplier to see what your multiple is by your age. And for a 17-year-old, it's 119. So for every dollar that you put to work when you retire, it has the potential to become $119.
So I just did the math. I did 14,700 times that wealth multiplier. It's $1.7 million that you are on track just for that money you've saved so far to turn into by the time you get to retirement, which is awesome. Now, Brian, I struggle and I suffer from the fact of recognizing how powerful that math is. And oh man, I just love, so because then I think about, well, that's just the first $14,700. If I could save another $14,700, then that's going to be another $1.7 million. And I can stack and I can stack and I can stack and I can stack. But you are so good at saying, hey guys, listen, stop and smell the roses. It's okay to enjoy this season. You don't have to be hard charging. You don't have to be pushing. And you have recently counseled your daughter getting through like having early jobs and then going off into graduating high school and going off into college and working. How did you educate her around how to strike the balance? Was it okay to like enjoy your senior year, or should you be working and building because the money is so powerful? How do you navigate that?
Well, Landon, that's why this is going to be a kind of know thyself moment in the fact that at 17 years of age, way ahead of the curve, having close to $15,000. I want to know the source of the funds. Is this one of those things where you found our content and other personal finance content, and you've just been on fire reading everything you could and actually putting it to work? You're a hard worker. You've started working side jobs. You started saving this money, and that's where we've landed. If that's how you got here, then yeah, I think that I'm okay. I think there's probably a balanced approach. I don't know that I'd go cold turkey on just not doing anything. But I do want to make sure you're maximizing this one season of life that you're a senior in high school. But if the other way you got this money is that maybe you have a financial mutant as a parent and they've been in the background loading it up, getting you to do matching funds to a Roth and you've done some part of the work, but they've also been they've been your training wheels. I'll just say it. They're your training wheels, and the fact that they're helping enable and build this process. And it's kind of taking in the fact that you're building and building these assets. But if the behavioral stuff doesn't keep on without the training wheels, then we've got a problem. Mm-hmm. And that's why I say you got to know thyself. So if you feel like it's more of you are the driving engine of what got this, but maybe the driving engine is going to be burned out because you're thinking only about the goal and not the maximizing life, then yes, let's figure out how we bring it back down to balance. But if you're in that financial mutant household and this has kind of just happened and you still haven't, the work ethic and all the other stuff hasn't really taken traction, then I'm not going to be as easy and say, yeah, let's cut off and go have fun, because I do think there is something very valuable especially for a 17-year-old to learn the power of hard work. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's why I'm so glad I got my oldest daughter to work in fast food, so she could see how crazy the general public is, but also the value of impressing people and exceeding expectations to where they kind of count on you. There's really a lot of value to working out in the workplace, but also I know that sometimes us hard driving people who are trying to reach success at all costs, we sometimes neglect ourselves. So that's why I'm trying to give you the permission to kind of take a self-assessment and then land in the healthy place where you maximize your teens, you maximize your 20s, you maximize your 30s, but you're also very happy with all those decisions you made when you reach your 50s and 60s too.
I'll tell you what I like too, and it's not. I feel like for Landon, it's not an all or nothing. It's not a I have to stop working or I have to enjoy my senior year. I think that you can probably do both. I think there's some balance you can strike in there where you can do both and figure out what that looks like. Do you remember senior year like super distinctly?
I remember, I should have probably worked more hours because I took calculus, was like the only real class, and then I had like 3 PEs. I really did. And then so I had like calculus,
so
3
your senior year was
PECs.
great. You love senior year, right?
I did with my buddies. I made a lot of great memories, but it was kind of like I was just occupying space. Like there was I don't think I was getting smarter.
You
my
think you
senior
should,
year.
like if you could go back, so if you could go back in time, would you have done it differently or would you have still done the same thing?
No, because I now with modern school, you'd probably do where you'd be getting college credit. I could have taken more AP classes a lot of my friends. But I don't know. I mean, then once you get to college, you're like, I graduated in 4 years, which I was pretty proud of. But I don't think I would have been super excited to leave at 2.5 years.
Yeah, right.
If I would have taken a bunch of extra classes. So, I mean, there's a balance there on making sure you're maximizing life. And I was blessed that I had some scholarships and other things that made it where I didn't have a bunch of student loan debt. Because I do think if you go to college and you can be starting your sophomore year, if that's you not having to take student loan, then that's a win. Everybody's got a personal situation. You have to balance that. But for me, I loved all 4 years that I was at college. And I loved my high school years, too.
Well, you did go to the greatest college in all the world. So that's
and I'm still friends with all my high school friends, too. We're old men that go to spring training every year.
That is true. That is very sweet. I appreciate that you do that.
It's like very stereotypical of old men. I mean, we're one step from putting tube socks on that go up to our knees with sandals.
Oh, that's such a nice thing.